Hello everyone and welcome to another video. Thank you for tuning in. So Foodie Beauty is staying off of YouTube. However, what's been circulating is that she has been posting in the comments section of various reactors under several sock accounts, at least one that keeps posting in support of Foodie Beauty. So while she's not actively on YouTube in the sense of making content, she is lurking around. Also, what's going on is that her Cameo appears to be active again. Now, that means that either somebody had received a Cameo and just decided to post their feedback, or she has turned it on again. Now, everyone is wondering how Foodie has been making income during the last week and a half of her absence. And we shouldn't forget that Foodie likes to make content for people like anime. And we've long suspected that she has been making that type of content on the side. So I would not be surprised if she is making that type of content as long as she has access to fast food or the ability to cook meals at home. Because if Foodie can be posting under sock accounts all across YouTube, she definitely has the ability to create special content for people like anime. As we also know, Salah's former friend, Alaa, has been going around the various YouTube channels and doing interviews or some semblance of interviews, and he has had several things to say. Now, what I want to do today is twofold. Number one, discuss some of the things that he said and kind of figure out which things may be accurate and which things may not be, and also take a look at what Foodie Beauty had to say about Alaa way back when she first got to Kuwait, because times have certainly changed, and the very many things that she said about him and his wife suddenly apply to Foodie and also to Salah. So let's get to it. So Alaa has done at least 2 quote-unquote interviews with reaction channels that I am aware of. And while many of the things that he said were not surprising, there is one thing that he offered up, which might be considered a new piece of information, and we'll get to that in a moment. But let's consider some of the things that Alaa said, and we can discuss whether we believe them or not. So to start, Alaa said that Salah has been disowned by his family. Now, I don't fully believe that, and that is for a number of reasons. If we go back in time to the early days of the Kuwait arc, Foodie had done a stream where she was talking very quietly, and that was because Salah had gone to bed because he was having surgery on his foot the following morning. And she was not going to be going to the hospital with him. Salah's father was going to drive him. Foodie wasn't going along because Salah's father does not accept her. He considers her haram, and specifically because of her OnlyFans past, amongst other things. These are things which Foodie told us herself. So while Salah's father doesn't particularly engage with them and wants nothing to do with Foodie, I don't think that he has fully disowned Salah. I don't think that Salah spent the month of Ramadan in March when he was never home. He was never around Foodie during that month. I don't think he necessarily spent that off by himself alone or strictly with friends. He was doing things with family. Also, there have been at least 2 occasions where we all think that we heard a voice in the background, a child's voice specifically. One of those occasions had to do with Julia. They were talking about Julia, and a child could be heard off to the side. The second time was much more recently when Foodie came home after doing an early morning stream, and she was extremely flustered and said she doesn't like it when she returns home to unexpected things. Salah has nephews. His siblings have children. His sister has children. One of his brothers has children. So I think that his siblings do engage with him and that he does interact with them and with his nephews and nieces. So as far as that claim that he's completely disowned from his family, I do not believe that fully. Prior to Foodie, if we look at their various YouTube pages and the messages that they were sending each other, they were very positive and optimistic and supportive to one another. So I think there's a certain foundation of that remains. Also, in case anyone wants to suggest that the voice in the background is that of Salah's child, Alaa told us that Salah does not have another wife nor a child. And I do believe that. I've always been of that opinion as well. What was curious was that Alaa has absolutely no idea how old Salah is. He gave a range of Salah being anywhere from 32 to 39. And while I understand that men don't necessarily focus on these things down to the exact year, that is quite a range. Because if Salah is closer to Alaa's age, he would know that. But 32 to 39 is quite a range. So that kind of leaves Salah's actual age as part of a mystery. However, 32 is closer to the age that we have been told by both Salah and Foodie. What he was sure about was the fact that Salah's birthday is in October. He remembered that only because his birthday, his being Alaa, is in November. He also told us that Salah's father is a very good and kind man. This is something which he has said before, so his opinion about Salah's father has not changed. However, he doesn't interact or have any knowledge regarding the siblings because he only interacted with Salah. So he knows a bit about the father in order to make those character assessments, but he wasn't able to offer up anything about the sister. Now, the new piece of information that he offered was that Salah had applied to go to Canada at least twice, but was declined. Now, if that is true, there are two instances in Foodie Beauty streams in the past which might speak to that. In one stream that Foodie had done, she and Salah were out and about in Kuwait, and she was by herself in this large building, and she was sitting there having a beverage. And then Salah eventually joined her, and it was suspected at the time, based on the location of where that building was, that it was around government buildings, and it was suspected that it might have to do with him trying to get a visa. The second time was when Foodie was doing another stream. This was about a year ago, and she suddenly got off midstream and said, "Oh, sorry, I've got to go because something just happened."
It's a different vibe. It's such a different vibe living in the Middle East as well. Like, I can't explain it to you. You'd have to come and live here. You know what I mean? Yeah, I have two homes, exactly, Valley. That's how I feel. Like, obviously, my heart, a big part of it will always be in Canada. Like, I don't have all bad memories there. And there's a lot of things I love about it. But I guess I just prefer to live here right now, you know? So that's my, you know? Oh shit, I gotta go. I got bad news.
It's quite possible that what had happened was them receiving notice that he had been declined. So while that was the fresh nugget that Alaa provided, there might be some truth to that, that he applied once, if not twice, and got declined. Another thing he said is that Foodie is essentially his employer. And we've been saying that here on quite a while. She pays him to keep him around. She pays him to participate on her YouTube channel. She pays him to do her various errands. She pays him to drive him around. So his income comes from Foodie and whatever financial agreement they have. Alaa also said that he does not believe that they are married, and that's what the community has been saying because no proof of marriage has been provided. We know if it existed, Foodie would offer it up right away. She claims that Salah does not want it shared, and I believe that if any type of paperwork was filed in the court, it was not for a marriage. It could have been just to declare that Foodie Beauty has no contact with her father, and that's what the paperwork involved. If you recall, in Foodie's most recent explanation of their marriage, she claimed that they had to petition the court because her father was not present and she has no communication with him. So in order for her to be married without her father's presence or permission, they had to go through the courts. It's very likely that that is where the process ended, and that the paperwork is regarding that and nothing further, and that is why Salah does not want it to be shown. Foodie wouldn't know the difference anyway. And if that's the case, the fact that they've been cohabitating together for almost 3 years is a big problem for both of them. As far as the filming of the oil fields, Alaa said that that is a huge problem and a huge violation. However, he noted the fact that Salah was not heard during those videos. It's strictly Foodie's voice. So he has a little bit of an out in that sense. Now, do note that during his interviews, Alaa was sealing and smoking. So I don't know what that says about the types of people who Salah attracts around him, but it's quite interesting given what we are about to discuss. So what I want to take a look at is the very many vile things that Foodie had to say about Alaa and his wife shortly after she got to Kuwait. So for those who may not be aware, when Foodie first got to Kuwait, she and Salah spent some time with Alaa and his wife. And of course, as is true for many of Foodie's relationships, it went sour very quickly because it was not transactional. If Foodie is not getting something out of a relationship, whether it be a relationship with a male or a female, it quickly turns. The same is true of her relationship with pets. If they are not doing something for her or being useful, as she herself has said, the relationship goes south and it becomes one of neglect. Additionally, we know that Foodie does not have good relationships with females. That has been a constant problem and a constant issue for her. So, like everything else, this relationship was very short-lived. So Alaa had come onto social media and said some things about Salah's wife, aka Foodie, and Foodie decided to make a response. So let's have a look at what Foodie said, and let's have a look at how times have changed and the tables have turned.
You sure want to mess with them in their country? Yeah, I do. Yeah. When he messed with us first, fair game. That's the rules. He's not Kuwaiti. Honestly, Kuwait should get rid of trash like him. Honestly. He's ruining your country.
You might want to rethink that, cutie, given current circumstances. I think Kuwait is trying to get rid of someone else who's ruining the country.
Saying I broke the bed. Oh yeah, so Salah prepared everything, got rid of his small bed, and got a big bed for us. Because yes, of course, like, I'm not gonna sleep on a single bed with him. I'm a big woman, so what? What's with all the fat shaming anyway? Like, really? Like, it's so pathetic. It's smell shaming, and his jokes are stupid. The camels ran away from me. He wasn't even around us at the time. He's just trying to make people laugh, and like, he's one of those people who are like, will do anything for views. Anything. He's such a loser.
Says the woman who will do anything for money in the form of super chats or PayPal, such as, oh, I don't know, hop on the couch, pass gas, and say things during streams for a select group of viewers, if you know what I mean.
He has 2 kids, and he doesn't give them money, and he has 2 kids, and he does this stuff. Imagine.
In another part of her rant, Foodie says that Alaa's children live in the Philippines. However, there is no clarity given as to their ages. If they're adults, then why should he be giving them money? They are likely living and working in the Philippines and fending for themselves, as the majority of adults do. So there's not much more to say to this other than the fact that Foodie is just kind of throwing comments and insults and slander into the wind.
Like, no, like, he just stays calm, but he deals with things behind the scenes, you know? Yes, you should believe everything I say, because when have I lied, honestly? I'm still waiting on, like, actual things you haven't heard from reaction channels. Other than being with Trash Bag and lying for him a few times, what have I lied about? I just gave you an example, Sam's Bar Lounge. Where's my exposure? Nothing. Do I contradict myself sometimes, like, with feelings or thoughts or whatever? Yeah, but, like, outright lying about something that happened? No.
There is not enough time in this video to go through all of your lies, so let's just touch upon a few. And yes, scams are a form of lies. So let's see, we have veterinary care for BBJ. Then we have the postcard sub scam. We have sending coffee to one of your beezers, which never happened. Everything concerning the one who shall not be named. Everything concerning your visa status in Kuwait. Everything concerning your alleged marriage. Claims that you are part of the fabric of Salah's extended family. Oh, and here's a big one, the status of Bruce's health and overall condition. He was not at death's door, he was not skinny, and he did not have ear mites, allegedly according to the garage vet that you yourself took him to. It is also extremely, extremely unlikely and doubtful that you attended any form of therapy, let alone even intake, while you have been in Kuwait, which is also contrary to your claim. The list goes on and on. Trying to get out of the fact that you lied by saying that you changed your mind or how you thought about things does not change the absolute. If you did not tell the truth, you lied. If you decide to come clean later, that still means that at some point you lied. Yes, Foodie, you lied. You lie a lot.
That's what it all comes down to. None of you have a man, hot man, and you're all jealous. Alaa is jealous that Salah takes care of me, and I have a really, I work because I like it. I get to do what I like, so people are jealous of it. Okay, $76 sitting here, coming to have a nice dinner, and people want to ruin it, like him, because he's jealous, because him and his wife don't even sleep in the same room anymore. And that's probably why he asked for my number on WhatsApp. Ew.
So let's see. Alaa and his wife have been married a long time, and according to Foodie, they don't sleep in the same room. Salah and Foodie are allegedly newlyweds. We're only about 2.5 years into this whole Kuwait arc. Yet how many times, especially recently, have we heard, my room, Salah's room, my room, Salah's room. I'm taking the snacks to Salah so he can keep them in his room. She's been slipping up a lot lately. So for her to go into this saying that this person and his wife don't sleep in the same room is quite rich when, from everything we've seen, she and Salah don't sleep in the same room. Also, given how all of Foodie's toiletries are always in the living room, as are all of her other belongings, and other things that we have seen, other clues, it appears that Foodie probably does sleep in the living room the majority of the time.
No, I'm sorry, but Salah's not a cuckold, okay? He's not going to talk to you after you ask me for my number. Are you kidding?
Salah is not a cuckold? I did a whole entire video where I talked about the fact that he was being cuckolded by Foodie because of the way that she was behaving with Anime. Foodie had slipped up and said that she and Anime had communicated outside of YouTube and that she had even done a cameo for him. And all of those times that she was passing gas on camera and also throwing in random statements that just didn't seem to belong, those were also because Anime was paying for them. So yes, Salah is a cuckold, but he doesn't care as long as he is getting his part of this financial arrangement that's been made. Also, Foodie says that Salah is no longer going to speak to Alaa because Alaa asked her for her number. Now, it just may be that Alaa was trying to talk to her regarding YouTube. Foodie has nothing else to talk about. Alaa might have been interested in growing his channel and monetizing it and figured that he could reach out to Foodie Beauty to get some tips and suggestions. On a different note, Alaa might have sensed that Foodie Beauty will go with whoever gives her even the slightest bit of attention, and he might have been shooting his shot. We've never said that he's an upstanding person. He might be grimy and slimy in that way. The point here is that Salah unblocked Anime in order to keep the cash flowing. If in fact he is no longer in contact with Alaa, that could be because he's trying to keep Alaa away from the YouTube funds. Money is the motivator here for this entire cast of characters. Money explains why they all behave in the manner that they do.
He needs attention and subscribers, and we're giving it to him apparently right now. So enjoy. Merry Christmas, you filthy animal. Babe, I'm sorry that you have a crappy friend. I've been through this with friends. I had Shannon make a reaction channel trying to give tea on me, talking about my childhood, all this and that. I know what that's like. And then people have the nerve for me to I'm not going to sympathize with her. So, no, I'm not.
Imagine being friends with someone for years, and then here comes this foodie beauty off a plane dictating who you can and cannot be friends with and causing problems in your relationships with your friends. It really says something about both of them. Foodie Beauty's need to control Salah, and Salah willing to be controlled in exchange for a couple of dollars. And willing to ruin all of his relationships with both friends and family for those few dollars.
There's your wives, and then there's bitches, and his wife is a bitch. Sorry for my language. And then he didn't really, what sealed the deal was that now he got jealous that our vlog from camping was getting a lot of views, and we didn't want to talk to him anymore. He's trying to be a YouTuber. He's trying to get me. He's like always saying like, hey, Beezers, like trying to just suck off of our internet. We're not even famous, okay? Internet famous. So, I hate people. Like, anyway, he threatened to make problems for us and like make up a lie that we're not married and everything. Like, do it. Like, we have proof. Are you kidding me? Like, oh my god. You're a low-life, Salah, please type this in Arabic so he can read it. Low-life piece of leechy crap. You have no integrity as a man. You're not a real man at all.
So right here, Foodie Beauty in her own words demonstrates that if in fact Alaa did ask her for her WhatsApp, it was regarding YouTube and how to grow his channel. But of course, Foodie wants to feel so desired that she turned it into something that it wasn't.
Like, I guess he like sells things out of a suitcase. That's the only thing he's useful for, selling discount items from his crappy store that your wife has to work at forever. Don't be jealous.
So here we find out that Alaa has a store and that both he and his wife work at this store. And for some reason, Foodie decides to be degrading about this. Foodie, there is dignity in work. The majority of people get up every day and go to a job. Sitting around, sealing all day, scamming and begging for donations just to get a cup of coffee, that lacks dignity. Contributing nothing to society, but making content for people like anime, that lacks dignity. Importing a scammer from halfway around the world so that you could live off of their YouTube earnings and that you can scam the world together, that lacks dignity. So I'm not sure why a family business is being trashed and presented as less than in comparison.
He is willing to just do away with any integrity or any friendship, like a long friendship, for what? Because you want internet clout so your wife doesn't have to work anymore? I don't get it. Like, this is, anyways, the tea on his wife, by the way, she gossips all the time, the whole time, and she even talks shit about her husband. She was telling me that her husband, Alaa, doesn't even, they fight all the time over money because he won't even, like, give his kids money. He's such a tightwad. Like, he won't even send his kids money who live in the Philippines.
It's funny how Alaa is a tightwad, but Salah is presented as being financially responsible, so much so that he is helping Foodie get her finances on track.
Like, that's just disgusting. He's just a freak. Anyway, also, when they were married, to save money because he's such a tightwad, he had, like, what, 4 black guys living in the house, and, like, he's a black guy is living with his wife.
So Foodie found it very important to emphasize the race of the men who Alaa was renting out space to. And then she further went on to say that he is being cuckolded because his wife is having relations with these 4 men of African descent. She is not only derogatory regarding these men and Alaa and his wife, but also their living situation. But you know what's funny? Here's what she had to say about Salah's living situation just a few days before the whole Bruce situation went down. I think it's very interesting.
Able to afford every single bill. There's no way. How did he make ends meet before me? Exactly. He had his own car. He paid for it in cash. He had his own place, which, honestly, if you're like a bachelor living alone and paying what he did in rent just to live in Salmia, that's pretty good. Most people, for his apartment size that you guys were making fun of because you're culturally fucking ignorant, people live like families of 3 or 4. His neighbors were living with like families in a room like that. So before you make fun of people, maybe learn something out of your friggin' dumb brains. Like, it's
So everybody's culturally ignorant because we don't understand that the size of the space that Salah lived in prior to Foodie entering the picture is enough for multiple families. And while that may be the case, then why was Alaa's living situation problematic? So we're told to go learn something, but yet Foodie insulting Alaa is okay for the very same thing. My, how hypocrisy you are.
Oh, no, I can't be arrested for slandering Allah. You know why? You know why? Because he slandered us first, and he's a public figure. Nice try. You don't think I'm smart? I'm a lot smarter than all of you. Don't worry about it. So it's fair game. He started it. He's a public figure. He's a YouTuber. Let the cops come, because they'll be arresting him next. Don't worry about it.
By that same logic, Foodie, you are a public figure, and you are the one who started the scam and the grift and soliciting donations on behalf of Bruce. Therefore, Pause Kuwait and others who are concerned have the right to go after you. You see how that works? You telling Pause Kuwait to do their worst and all of the other posts that you made and subsequently deleted, that is you as a public figure not only starting the situation, but also escalating it, intimidating others, and even sending your beezers after Pause Kuwait. And if in fact all of those slanderous and threatening messages were not sent by beezers, but by you or Salah under sock accounts, then your problems are even greater than you realize.
No, he doesn't know where we live. That's what's driving him nuts too. We moved and didn't tell anybody where we live, and he's like freaking out. And he's been trying to reach. Nothing you people say will ever faze me. Nothing. Like I said, I go with the flow. I have my faith in God. He will put me where I need to be. He needs to watch it because he's not a citizen of here, but he lives here, so he's registered here. Spreading slander about someone like that is probably illegal, so he should watch it. Actually, he should watch it. He doesn't want to mess with me because I'm smart. Okay, I know I look dumb on camera, and yes, I'm dumb about some things, but when it comes to getting revenge, I'm an expert.
Talk about hubris. Somebody who's in Kuwait on a tourist visa telling someone who has lived there their entire lives that they need to watch it because of their status. That's some gall and entitlement from someone who doesn't have a leg to stand on, possibly literally soon, but from somebody who doesn't have a leg to stand on, especially given their current situation. There is one thing that Foodie said, however, that is the truth, and that is that she is good at getting revenge. Foodie had told us the truth twice as far as her character and the constitution of her personality is concerned. When she had the rage in Cuba, she said that she is a manipulator. She said that she manipulates her audience and that after the rage, she was going to come back the next day and be all nice and that everybody would eat it up. She was correct about that for the most part. Her audience ate it up and believed her and are still standing with her to this day. Revenge is the other thing that she is being truthful about. We saw that when she was not getting her way with the one who shall not be named, how she tried to use law enforcement as a weapon in order to get revenge. If Foodie had business cards to hand out, manipulation and revenge would be listed right on them.
I don't even have to make up lies about it to do it either. Okay, baby, you're gonna go through all my sent messages after this, right after this. Krista Bizayo. No. Absolutely not. Honestly. Every time I pass gas, I swear, I go, all right, whose face is going to be this time?
So let's see what we have here. Foodie Beauty tells Kuwait that they need to get rid of Alaa because he is trashing up their country. However, it appears that Kuwait is getting ready to send Foodie right back where she came from. Then she not only makes fun of Alaa's living situation, but implies that his wife is having relations with the 4 men who they rent out space to. But let's all remember, she was very quick to run over to Dee Dee's house and partake in events on the purple mattress just because the one who shall not be named wanted her to. For some reason, she feels that the fact that both he and his wife work, something that is worthy of ridicule. However, Foodie has very recently said that she does very well for doing practically nothing. And of course, we know that very well means just laying around and begging for donations just to be able to eat. She makes fun of Alaa for allegedly being a tightwad, but yet we've heard many times how strict Salah is with the finances, to the point where he doesn't even see the value of ever eating out at a restaurant. And then she believes that because Alaa is a public figure and that he is the one who initiated this argument, or whatever you want to call it, that they were having, that she was exempt from any type of repercussions, and that she could respond in any horrible way that she wished. However, right now, she is the initiator and the instigator of what is going on between her and Pause Kuwait and Kuwait in general. So it's very interesting to note how all of the things that she said about Alaa and his wife and their living situation and their family and their finances all became a part of Foodie Beauty's reality. She was very confident to say all of the things that we heard her say to Alaa, but she is being extremely quiet now that the chickens have come home to roost. So that is all I have for you right now. Thank you so much for listening, and until the next one.